Hello and welcome to my journaling ecosystem video. I have decided to make this into a YouTube video and I have all of them here to show you. I did film this last week, but I actually missed a couple of my journals. Yeah, I actually can't find one. Hold on, found it. So this is going to be my journaling video. These are all of the journals that I currently use. It was only after I had seen this term going around online and on social media that I realized I even had an ecosystem. I have never actually had them all in one place. They're all in different places in my home, car, purse, and desk at all times. So going around and finding every single one was a journey, but we've done it. They are here. We'll be going over materials, stationery, washi tape, glue, all of it. So let's get right into it. Before I do though, and in order to share my credentials, these are my journals. I have been journaling on and off for the majority of my life. I have most of them here, and I can't actually show them all in frame. Believe and trust that I've been doing this for a long time and I know the system that works for me. So hopefully you can get some tips if you are someone who wants to get into journaling. Maybe you don't have a dedicated practice, but you would like one. So hopefully you also get some tips on how to consistently keep up with your shit. I'm at a point now where this is my life. These journals are my life, and if I lost them, I would lose damn near 2 decades of memories. So they're very important to me. I'm gonna put these all back really quick and then we're gonna get into the video. Okay. Now this video is mainly going to be a journaling tour. I am going to do a different style of video called a Kaigi, which is kind of like a journaling mid-year check. Some people do this. I mean, originally this was done more in the fall time to see things that you're going to take with you into the new year, right before winter time. But the winter has passed because it's July. So I have decided I'm just going to do a mid-year sort of check, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, for now, we're just going to be doing a tour. I am going to just be showing them. I will put little flashes on the screen here of what these look like, but let us start with the full pile. Okay, starting with the tiniest guys first, because these guys are more like travel journals for me. Starting with the newest journal to me, and that is this little guy right here. This one is just a little flame tree notebook from Flame Tree Publishing. You can pick these up at Michael's or something, or at a Half Price Books, which is where I got mine. I liked it a lot because it had a bunch of hummingbirds on it, and I really want to get into birding very soon. I want to get into birding. I have the iNaturalist app. You can use this app in order to track different species that you see when you're out and about. You know, when you look at something, you're like, what is that? What species is that? What plant is that? What is that? This is literally an app full of people who are scientists who can tell you exactly the type of species. I find this app to be really interesting, and I have used it now in a couple different countries, actually. So even if you're not in America, you can use this. But yeah, it's just a collective of scientists all around the world who are really into creatures, birds, and stuff. So anyway, I've decided that I'm going to get into birding. This one's going to be my birding journal. I haven't really started it yet, but I would really like to get into it this year. So birding journal, newest edition. Now into the ones that I actually use. Okay, this one is my sketchbook. This sketchbook comes with me everywhere. I got this when I was traveling. Typically, I do like to pick up journals in random places because I find that usually I would realize my need when I am traveling. I tend to draw and write, and I really like urban sketching. I really like drawing whatever is around me. So this little guy is actually just my little sketchbook where if I go to a cafe or I'm in a bookstore that is new, that is some really interesting architecture or cool lighting on the ceiling or whatever, I like to draw them and then paint them later. I will show you materials I use in this one. But yeah, that's my little sketchbook. I love it very much, and it's super compact, so it fits in all of my tote bags and even in my purse. The next little guy that I have is my little slingshot. Slingshots are these style of planners that are made by this radical bookseller or publisher, and this one is their 2026 one. I got it when I went to Quimby Bookstore in New York City. They do publish though here in Berkeley, California, which is hilarious. But yeah, this is the 2026 organizer, and it is the 31st year that they have been publishing this organizer. Its sales raise funds to print the radical independent Slingshot newspaper, and they distribute newspapers for free everywhere in the United States. So if you're interested in a slingshot Slingshot. Definitely check it out. They have tons of great resources and stuff at the end. But one of the main reasons I got this was because I just really liked the layout. It is very similar to the way that I do weekly layouts in my own journals. I don't tend to use planners at all. The last time I had a dedicated planner was in college, and since then, not really. So that's about 5 years of not using any sort of dedicated planner in that way. I tried picking up one here and there. It just wasn't working for my brain. I needed to create it, and it needed to be really customizable. This is the first one that I've seen where it's like similar to the way that I create mine, and it was small and compact enough that I knew I would actually pick it up. So that was half the reason I decided to get this. Also, it has a menstrual calendar in the beginning, and I have been doing paper tracking instead of using an app for the last 2 years now. So yeah, Slingshot organizer. This guy also sometimes will come with me outdoors, but usually it stays on my desk. The next one that comes with me everywhere, that is always traveling with me, that is my ride or die, that is very important to me. This is my everything journal. That's what I like to call it. That's what it is to me. And every single year I choose like a different color for it. This year has been this teal one. I mean, I say every year, but I don't actually use my journals on a yearly basis. It's more like every 2 years, maybe, especially this guy has been going since beginning of last year. So yeah, this is more of a 2-year journal for me. As you can see, it's a bit thick, and that's because this is where I stick things in. I use it for like travel pages, like this is where I have all of my sketching is in here. I have random places that I've been to in here. I have like memories in here. It's everything that I've got going on, and it makes me very happy to go through. It reminds me of all of the little things that I've done, the exhibits that I've been to and stuff like that. So I like to stick things in here. You're just seeing all of my New York spreads right now, but first time I went to New York City, I did want to romanticize the fuck out of it. I also used this one for any sort of drawing challenges or anything that I did. Last year in October, I did do a drawing challenge, and so my zines are in here. I like to like stick them inside, so I still have them in there. It's been the one that's been with me probably the longest, I would say. And you would think that by now I would have filled it up more, but I haven't been journaling like that. I really haven't been. So this has kind of been my slow way back into journaling as a dedicated practice. And this journal has really helped me with that because it's just a dotted journal. It's very simple. I have very few requests for a journal. One is that I don't like any pen holder on the outside. I don't find those to be useful for me when I stick things in tote bags a lot, and I can easily lose pens that way. It does need to have a strap. That's very important to me. And I also really like a journal that has a flap in the back where I can put stickers and stuff. Like so. This one is a Leuchtturm 1917, and I really, really think these are fantastic. It can hold watercolor, it can hold paint, it can hold all of these pages, and the binding is still running strong. So I think I am going to be purchasing another one of these when this one runs out, which we might actually get to before the end of the year, which would be really cool because I haven't finished a journal before the end of a year in a really long time. So yeah, this is my everything journal. It comes with me everywhere. Or if it's too heavy and I don't feel like taking the whole guy with me, then I'll just take one of my sketchbooks. The next one is going to be just my writing journal, or I suppose you could call it a diary. And this is the one that I use simply for writing. Nothing else happens in here. I got this when I was traveling. So this is from a independent publisher. It has a leather bound situation and it goes around with a string. This one I also really like because it has like a little bit of space in between the paper, so I can actually stick a pen in there, and it's really nice to do that. So that's my writing journal. I'll take my pen, whatever pen I'm using, I'll put it right over here, and then I can just close it up. Doing this with one hand is very difficult. I can close it up like so, and it's with me, which is really nice. So yeah, this is just my writing journal, straight up a diary. My thoughts and feelings and opinions are in here, and my frustrations and my life, whatever I'm processing. Another 2-year journal. The next one I have is, I would say, a bit more of a unique journal than any of the other ones that I've got. And this one is my Kofia journal. This one I got from Interlink Books. It is my current affairs journal is what I call it. This is a lined notebook, and it used to be that I was just using it for random things. I had random pages in here. There would be like brainstorming for content creation used to be in here. I mean, a bunch of things. Like, it was kind of a catch-all whatever for things that I think just didn't fit in the other journal. journals. And then about a couple months through, I want to say in 2024, end of the year, I started reading a lot of nonfiction, and I really wanted a dedicated space that I could just write notes about those books. For example, Care Work, Dreaming Disability Justice, or Angela Davis works, or Bell Hooks, or any of the number of books that I was reading that were on my nonfiction shelf that I wanted to remember and think about and have little sketch note pages on it. But this is kind of the page that I used for that. It became a bit of a process journal, I guess you could say. I then started to use this as a world reflection journal. Basically what I do here is every month I will write down the world's sorrows. I will write down things that are happening in the world that are significant. In January of 2025 especially, it just felt like insane for me to not write down the insanity that I was seeing happening with the crumbling of the United States. I genuinely could not go away, and I could not figure a way to be helpful. So one thing that my brain did was, I think you need to write this shit down. So I did. And this journal has now become where I go when I am interested in a specific topic going on in the world that I think needs to be thought of and discussed more. Yeah. Anytime there is a major historic event or an event that I simply do not want to forget, I will put it in this journal. I wonder how much of the background noise this is going to pick up. I really hope it's not too much. I really hope so. Okay. But yeah, this has become that type of journal for me. It is a current events journal. It is where I go to write down things that are simply too much for my brain to process by itself. And so this has been that journal. And honestly, it's a very difficult journal to pick up. It's probably the journal I pick up the least. I will pick it up maybe once a month, if not once every 2 months, and have since January of 2025 in order to just write down what the fuck is going on. Because right now, the worst things are going on, and I can't help but honor in some way, shape, or form this pain and give it space. And so this journal has been that space. The last journal that I have to show you right now before we move on to stationery and stuff is this one right here, which looks like a whole thing. I just recently put a bunch of stickers on it because the entire cover ripped off recently. It used to have this fabric embroidered cover over it, and it just one day peeled off. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to embrace this because it looks kind of cool. So I put some washi tape on the side. I put some stickers that I've just had lying around all over it. And yeah, this journal right here would be my process journal. So sometimes where I will put ideas for how I want to format things, like stuff that has to do with tech and has to do with social media and has to do with stuff that I don't have the capacity to like sit in front of a screen to like figure out and type out, I will put in here. It has a very basic layout. It is one of those lined notebooks that has a calendar at the top. It's got a lot of planning and such in here. Business ideas. I mean, content ideas. Like I needed things to be set up this way. Set up with like the date on top, and then it's just lined, and to me it feels like the journal I go to when it's like serious business. This never leaves my house or my desk. And that is a tour of all of the actual journals themselves. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the type of page layouts that I do, the type of journaling that I do, and as I do that, I'm going to show you my stationery. So it's going to be a bit of a voiceover. Here's basically an overview of everything that I use in my journals, and it kind of depends on which journals we're talking about. But for example, if I'm using any of my travel journals or the tinier ones, then it's kind of like fair game. Any of these materials will be used in them. For example, if I'm using my everything journal, or if I am using my sketchbook right here, then most likely I will be using my watercolor palette, which is very well loved, as you can see, or I'll be using any number of these washi tapes. I have a bunch of them. This is like a whole Moomin collection that I have here. All of these are Moomin characters. It's one of my favorites. And then I have some that are like My Hero Academia themed. I have this aquatic themed one that I've been really into. I get my washi tape everywhere. But yeah, those are always going to be fair game, like watercolors or that. Or I will be using any number of Posca pens. I have a ton of them. I have the marker kinds, I have the pen kind. I love me some Posca pens. I have quite a fair bit of them. And then I will be using any number of Muji pens in all of my journals. Like any journal that is a writing journal uses one of these 0.5 Muji pens. I use black, I use brown, I use blue. I love Muji pens. I have quite a few of them. I'm also a huge fan of these Faber-Castell brush pens, and I use them quite a lot as well in my journals. But yeah, if I am journaling within any of my bigger journals, is that I will use these sticker sheets in there. Let me show you one of them. For example, this is what it looked like for my December trip. What I like to do is use a calendar sticker, and this one is from a brand MD Paper. I have been getting these now for, I want to say 2 years or so. There's like a random sticker on it, but I get these from my favorite stationery shop, which is called Yoseka Stationery. Basically everything I have is from there. I love Yoseka so much. They are my favorite people. But yeah, I get these blank sticker sheets and I stick them into my dotted journal, and then I will put in the numbers myself. And then recently what I've been doing, let me show you a more recent month, like June. Recently what I've been doing is that I will put in the calendar, and then I'll put like some kind of open things that are things I'm interested in, I guess you could say. And then I will put in the book clubs that I have going on, and then I'll put some kind of themes for the month, I guess. And that I've actually been really liking doing for this like first day of the month sort of thing. And then I have been doing little things like this where I will kind of put all the books and the comics that I'm currently reading for my spread for July or for June. I had a few things up in there, a few goals and stuff, which I do think that I basically accomplished. And then I had book club stuff on there as well. And then all of the pages were kind of like different reflections of that. So you can see all the stuff that I use. Some of them are like written down, others are just stuff kind of stuck in here that I've really been loving. And then for July, which is my Cancer season one, this is probably the most filled in that I've done. I've also started doing a reflection page. I just started that last month, and I would like to do that till the end of the year, basically. But I've had more time to journal because I've had a lot of empty space in my days. So we'll see. Hopefully I can keep it up when things get busier. But yeah, July, I have a few things planned and whatever. So I have my book clubs in here. I have goals for the month and things that I'm planning on doing. So yeah, this is another spread that I did, which is kind of like all of the stuff that I'm paying attention to this month: the books, the media, the comics, and writing, which is a newer section. I haven't had a dedicated writing practice in a couple of years, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about like using this more this month for exploring things like that. That is a typical spread for me. I will use these stickers and I will use all of these materials, and I will do a spread. I also have this right here, which is kind of like, this is my bin. It's a Much Ado About Nothing. It came with like a tea set at the bookshop I used to work at, and everyone at the bookshop knew that I was obsessed with matcha, so they saved it in the back for me, which was really sweet. So I did take that home, and in here I have all of my stickers and stuff. Like I have a ton of stickers and patches and everything in here. I literally keep it all in one thing, and then sometimes I will come in here and take out like stickers that I want to use, or bookmarks, or like 3D stickers, whatever it is, and I will stick them into the journal for that month. So yeah, I like to have everything on hand when I am actually doing my journaling. I always have quite a bit of like pens and stuff always ready, and these are for like paints and watercolors. The two pens that I take with me constantly, because I always have this travel case with me, right now are my Kuiko Sport pens. I have two Kuiko Sport pens. This one was the first one I ever got. I usually put whatever ink I'm currently into this guy. And I recently got this Kuiko Sport when I was traveling to Turkey. It is one of my favorite. I love these pens to death. They're very beautiful to me. And that is kind of like a zoomed in look at all of the stuff that is in my stationery that I use for my